How you doing, YouTube? Matt Massive Beer Reviews, back with a little bit of Homebrew Wednesday up in this piece in the form of my boy, Ryan. It's at the Homebrewing Dad on Instagram. It says Cuckoo for cocoa nuts. Yeah, this is an oatmeal stout conditioned on bourbon-soaked cacao nibs, sure, whichever one, and toasted coconuts for 2 weeks. I believe this is nugget hopped. He's had a note. I don't know where the note went. We're just going to review it and see what's what. So anyway, yeah, he sent me off a bunch of beers, bunch of commercial stuff, but he sent off this one homebrew. Very excited because I did not have a beer for Homebrew Wednesday this week. So I'm excited. Humongous hiss on that. So it might be a little bit over carbonated, or just actually doesn't look all that carbonated. Let's throw it in there like we're being a jerk. Yeah, just a big hiss. Good seal. Let's put it that way. Weight-wise, I mean, it's literally just a brown piece of paper taped to it and handwritten, but he has good handwriting. I like it. I actually dig the label on it. Not in a getaway, too. I think you could produce a label like this commercially, and it would look quite nice. I just like it. What do you want? What does that look like? I mean, it looks more like a kind of stout than a oatmeal stout, like, if that makes any sense. Typically when I think of oatmeal stout, I think of creaminess and fluffiness and softness. It has more of a cola-like head to it, more than anything else. It's dissipating to the point where it's just kind of clinging on the edges now, just kind of right around that malted malt ball color. And then you have that kind of nice dark, but not over-the-top dark kind of body to it. So it looks the part of its ABV level. Let's get a nose. I mean, not a big nose on this, but you wouldn't expect it at 6.5%. So you're getting a little bit of toasted malts, nothing too aggressive here. A little bit of soft chocolate that I would assume would be all malt-based too, but this has that added cacao nibs to it, or cocoa nibs. I keep saying cacao. It's just cocoa on the label. And there's something else to this. And it has to be that coconut at play. It's almost like a semi-toasted kind of coconut. It says toasted coconut there, man. Listen. Full disclosure. I'm exhausted. Baby time is crazy time. But I took it upon myself to do too much today, and I'm tired. And I want to do a beer review. I want to do a homebrew beer review. So the mind is not the sharpest. The nose always knows, though. So there is this kind of semi-toasted coconut characteristic that comes off very much kind of like, I want to say almond joy, but that's because it's a combination of the chocolate and the coconut. But there is that sort of subtle toasted characteristic to it that's not over the top. It adds a little added dimension to it. It smells nice. Again, not overly impactful. I'm not going to sit here and say I was expecting that at 6.5%, but it smells quite nice. Nothing negative as far as off flavor on the nose. I don't know if that bourbon really plays anywhere on the nose, but we'll see what it comes off as in the taste, if anything. So, cheers. That's pretty hefty on the coconut in a very, very fun way. Coconut's a very hard flavor to impact unless you go like super extracty on it. So to get this level of fresh coconut with a nice dollop of toasted coconut in it is really, really surprising. I dig this, dude. The mouthfeel definitely lives up to an oatmeal stout. I mean, the way it looked, and the way the head kind of looked, based off of just initial looking at the beer, it looked like it was going to come off a little bit thin because that head didn't have that creaminess to it, but it definitely kind of lives up to the hype, especially considering its ABV level, because at that 6.5%, it's kind of tough to get that super sultry mouthfeel with that in that density that you want with it, but it's definitely there. So that's quite nice. The coconut is so fun in this, dude. I think the chocolate in this isn't nearly as big. How do I phrase this? I wouldn't call it out, I don't think, if I had it as a blind beer. I'd call it more of a subtle chocolate malt. But I think it works better that way. I think letting the coconut be the star of the show here is quite nice. The bourbon. Because we have to dress it. It's on in there. I don't get a big bourbon characteristic off this in any form or fashion. sands, and maybe this is where this is coming from, and I can see this being the case. I'm getting a soft, subtle, very subtle, again, 6.5%, not a big beer, slight cherry cordial thing to the chocolate here. So that could be your bourbon at play, bringing a little bit of those cherry notes, because a little bit of kind of reddish fruits, darker fruits, kind of cherry notes in a stout is not unheard of. But at 6.5%, usually you have to get up there in double digits. So I assume that's what's bringing that on there. This is a really tasty beer, dude. Listen. In a world full of pastry stouts and hazies and all those beers, I'm not making fun of them. I enjoy them quite a bit. That's a lot of what people tend to duplicate when it comes to homebrew. It's very much kind of old school, a little bit of a, oatmeal stout with a little bit of coconut in it. Again, it kind of has the offerings, the bits, the pieces of new school in it, but at its core, an oatmeal stout is very, very traditional. So I don't remember the last time I had not just a commercial oatmeal stout, but let alone a homebrew one. And makes me remember, oh man, I'm tired, how much I love oatmeal stouts. Like, it's probably one of my favorite styles when I got into beer and for quite some time, but you just don't see them that often nowadays. And when it's done this well, and this is done very, very well, and showcases some adjuncts in there in a very tasteful and mindful way, makes me kind of harken back to those kind of old school kind of oatmeal stouts, getting a little bit of, hopping frog vibes off of this, but better, to be perfectly honest with you. I like this quite a bit, dude. This is a very, 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 very tasty beer. If there was something bad here, something amiss here, I would absolutely say it, but you give me this at 6.5% with the level of coconut I'm getting on here, but from the fresh side, but also the toasted side, and the drinkability of the beer with no flaws, really, as far as off flavors or anything like that goes, at least. I dig it, man. It's good stuff. Like, really good. Like, really, really good. Now, what would I change about this? Because that's the whole point of this. Is there something wrong with it? Would I change something personally for myself? Because that's what homebrewers want to hear. It's great and awesome to sit here and say I really like it, but constructive criticism is kind of the want when it comes to sending beers to me or having your friends drink it and all that kind of stuff. Nothing. I mean, I have nothing bad to say about this beer. I could sit here and be like, maybe the body was a little bit fuller. Again, 6.5%. Check the brakes on that. Okay, coconut. It's not like crazy coconut, like over the top, like a funky Buddha beer. Oh, no shit. It's 6.5% and it comes off like organic. It gives me both the toasted and the fresh side of things. There's nothing there. There's nothing there as far as off flavor. That metallic astringency that I'm super, super sensitive to in lower ABV, darker beer, especially when you get closer to 5%, not even a hint of that in here. The only thing I really honestly would knock it on is the lack of a bourbon characteristic in it. Again, you're soaking cocoa nibs in bourbon, then putting in there. It's not like you're expecting the world hears that it's probably the tiniest nitpick in the history of nitpicks, but I did say I get a subtle, soft kind of cherry cordial vibe off it, so it's probably coming through. That's me just trying to say something that isn't just me really digging on a beer, which is kind of what's going on here. Yeah, classic, but with a little bit of updated flair. I'm a fan. Let's put it that way. No ifs, ands, or buts. Not me being nice. I can. I'm very, very, what's the word I'm looking for when I'm not exhausted? I am perfectly capable of not being nice. But it's not warranted. Yeah, there you go. A little bit of a drowsy Homebrew Wednesday in the books. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Thank you very much, Ryan, for sending this off. This is absolutely fantastic beer. Thank you for all the beers, but the homebrew stuff always hits home a little bit funner for me, so I appreciate it. So down there, if you want to talk about it, massivebeers@gmail.com or Matt at massivebeers.com if you ever feel like sending off some homebrew. I'm here, and leave you with, if you like what we like this. Oh, God. That's how tired I am. I just skipped into something I don't say with homebrews. Good God. Anyway, what I meant to say, massive beers for the social media stuff, beer massif for the podcasting thing. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the review. Hopefully you're enjoying a little bit of homebrew right now. Hopefully see you next time. Cheers.